Rafael Devers could become a Gold Glove Award winning first baseman. Hear me out. I think one of the biggest points of resistance I got on my last video was that since Rafael Devers is such a bad defensive third baseman, that he would be a bad defensive first baseman. And I went through the data and it turns out the answer is a resounding probably not. There's no getting around the fact that Rafael Devers has been among the worst defensive third basemen over the past 4 seasons. But a lot of this isn't his fault, mostly because he should have been moved away from third base sooner. For all qualified third basemen from 2019 to 2024, Rafael Devers had the second most innings played at third base, which would be normal if he was good, but he's not good. So that was pretty weird to do. Since he's such a weak defender at third base, this speaks to an operational oversight on the part of the Red Sox. So there's a couple times where this move should have been made. During or after the 2021 season, where he amassed a negative 13 outs above average, and then Devers bounced back in 2022, where he amassed a negative 2 outs above average, and then the Red Sox proceeded to give him a 10-year extension. For someone that came from the Tampa Bay Rays tree of influence, Chaim Bloom really lacked the foresight and feel for this type of stuff almost immediately, and it negatively impacted his entire tenure as the president of baseball operations for the Red Sox. Right after he signed that extension, his outs above average cratered to negative 8 in 2023 and a negative 6 in 2024, while still playing the 4th most innings at third base over that time span. So here's where the argument that since Rafael Devers is a bad defensive third baseman, that he'd be a bad defensive first baseman loses a lot of validity with me. Most first basemen are bad defensive third basemen. That is just the natural progression of being a third baseman. I combed through the data from this season for all right-handed throwing first basemen because left-handed people are usually going to be first basemen or pitchers or outfielders, so they don't count in this case. Of the 35 first basemen who had 10 or more starts at the position this season, 53% of them transitioned to playing first base in the major leagues. Additionally, 15% of the current first basemen used to be full-time third basemen, and another 18% of that population has spent a considerable portion of their professional career at third base. And how do they rank in terms of first base defense? Of the 12 right-handed first basemen with 1 or more outs above average, 7 of them converted to first base in the major leagues, and 4 of that 7 played a bulk of their professional innings at third base. If you expand that data set to all right-handed first basemen with 0 or more outs above average, that number jumps to 15 total, 9 of which are converted first basemen. 5 of that 9 played a bulk of their professional innings at third base. And here's another thing that I think gets overlooked when talking about Rafael Devers transitioning from third base to first base. 47% of his career errors are throwing errors. And you know what you don't do a ton of at first base? Throwing. I didn't mean to be so emphatic with that one, but I'm trying to make a point here. Sorry if that came off condescending. Considering he'll have far less throwing opportunities at first base, he'll also have less frequent barreled balls batted at him with a bigger glove and more recovery time if any fielding error does occur. So he should be all right. And finally, we have to talk about the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. effect. And I think when it comes to Rafael Devers, one of the most frequent comparisons in contract and in ability is him and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now let's talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for a second. The one season he played third base full time was in 2019, and he had negative 19 outs above average, which is one of the worst defensive seasons in the world ever. And he was banished to first base. And then what did he do in 2022? He won a Gold Glove at first base. So if you're telling me Vlad Guerrero Jr., the worst third baseman arguably ever, can move to first base and win a Gold Glove, not only does that not speak very highly of the Gold Glove award at this point, but it also shows that Rafael Devers can definitely win one of those at first base. Are you kidding me? So far this season, Rafael Devers has amassed 2.1 FWAR, and that's as a DH only. So that's about $16.4 million worth of value if we're converting WAR to dollar right now. And he's a little bit more than halfway to his average annual value based on those numbers. So, as my previous video suggests, getting some time at first base might help squeeze some extra value out of Rafael Devers. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what I'm doing, please consider subscribing to my channel. Maybe even give this video a like. If you don't like what I'm doing, sound off in the comments. Let me know what you don't like, and I will not care that much, but probably more than I should. And I'll see you guys next video.